Well, hi everybody. Welcome. It's finally time for Agnes and I to get together and do another fun-filled recording, and hopefully we can cover some things and get everybody on the same page. We always have good topics, good discussions, and I think today we've got a little special treat. Agnes had a wonderful idea, and I'm going to let her share that with everybody.
Hi everyone. Today's topic for Dan and I is we're going to talk about forgiveness of the self as to things that you feel you're still holding on to, what you did to other people, and also what you projected out and that created not so very nice things for yourself. So forgiving the self once you understand that everything is self-created and you know that knowledge, once you know better, you can do better, but you can still go back and clean up those dark corners in your mind of where you're still not forgiving yourself or still hanging on to what you did to other people, or the third thing, what other people have done to you.
This is a perfect place, by the way, to start, because I've had some people bring up this topic, and I've looked up a little bit on it, and I think I watched one of your videos, but obviously trying to keep track on all this stuff is pretty challenging. But you talk about the eraser technique or some sort of...
Oh, yeah, the rubbing out technique.
Rubbing out, rubbing you out. I got to rub it out. Which has a totally different meaning to most men, by the way. But anyway, we're not going there. We're not talking about rubbing one out. Anyway, that's not appropriate. I know. But
that's okay. We're not appropriate
no,
when we get together.
Couple crazy organic nuts or something along those lines.
Exactly.
So what is that rubbing out technique? What is that all about?
Okay, rubbing out technique is you can actually physically sit down and do it with a piece of paper and a pencil and an eraser or a rubber, depending on what country you come from. And
sorry.
Yeah.
Anyway, that means something else too. But if that's a piece of paper, an eraser, and a rubber.
An
maybe.
eraser, yeah.
Whatever you need.
There you go. Yeah, not the rubber that you put on, but the rubber that you wipe out.
That's a rubbing rubber, not one of those other ones. I got you.
Terminology in different countries
right?
is very important.
Holy crud. I wasn't sure what we were saying.
Back to it. The piece of paper. So you draw a little square and you draw a stick figure of you, and you draw a thought bubble, and then you draw a stick figure of the other person that you want to rub out. And you can actually rub out them entirely if you don't want them in your life anymore. You can actually rub out what they said to you because you didn't like it. You can say what you need to say, then you can draw this.
Can you rub out mistakes like you've made? Is that also part of that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It's like a physical, visual, creative technique that you can do. I used to have this woman that I worked with, and I used to be up a ladder, like this huge 6-foot ladder. I'd be on the top trying to put lamps on a top shelf, doing this big display in like a big Westfield shopping center homeware store. She'd be down the bottom, barking at me different things. And it was like having a chihuahua attached to my pant leg. It was so annoying. Anyway, I used the technique on her. And I did it, I don't know, maybe 6 times if I remember correctly. Anyway, I came into work one day because I used to move into these different shops around Sydney. She'd been fired.
Whoa. That's how you do that. Don't mess with Agnes. That's how that works.
Yeah, but I remember thinking I didn't want her to get fired. Right, I just didn't want her anywhere near me.
Well, she probably found a better job. It worked out, I'm sure, good for her. In the big
well,
picture.
You know what happened? 6 months later, she begged for her job back to the boss.
Wow.
And she got reinstated, and then we ended up working in another shop together, and we got on extremely well. It was like whatever negative emotion we had going between us was rubbed out.
Very cool. Very cool.
It was, because honestly, I have to say I really disliked her intensely.
Now, was she just like a bad energy, negative energy? Was she just a horrible person?
She was always like barking at everybody. She had this really abrupt manner that I found, when you're working with I didn't care if she was abrupt with me because I could say what I had to say, but it was working in customer service,
right.
It was like, you can't be like that. So I, of course, would get really offended by her manner and how she spoke to people. And then, it just got worse and worse in my head.
Now,
in those cases, ended up going.
Was the customer the actual, like the people at the store owners or the managers, or was the customers like the actual regular people that came in to buy stuff?
the regular people that came in to buy stuff.
That's
So
not very,
yeah,
like,
that's why I was
a guy that's
having
been
an
doing
issue with
customer
it, 'cause-
service his whole life. That's, oh my gosh.
Yeah,
Like
exactly.
my normal job is that. I mean, I do software support, companies that spend millions of dollars for our product and support. And it's like,
Yeah.
you can't be like
You
that to
can't
people.
do that.
No, that's
No.
not cool at all.
No.
So very
So
good.
of course so I rubbed her out. I drew her in the little box, did the thought bubble. Go away was my word.
Well,
something that
That worked.
because I thought it has to be short and sweet to fit in the little thought bubble.
Yeah.
Go away.
Yes, now. That's very good.
And then I would see her say, okay. And then I would just look at that and it would make me laugh. It would honestly make me laugh. And then eventually I just rubbed her out totally.
That
and
is
then
awesome.
it happened that she went. So yeah.
So when I was going through some of my like crazy spiritual stuff back when I was younger and all that, there was a technique that was very similar that we had. I'm going to go ahead and share. It's going to sound really crazy, I think, to most people. I like your rubbing out technique, especially with the rubber. But I digress. But no, what we did is we would take something when we would write it down on a piece of paper, whatever it was that was bothersome, whatever it was that you kind of wanted it to stop being a part of your life, and literally we'd stick it in the freezer. And it was just a trip how that kind of tended to work. So that's kind of another odd technique that's sort of similar.
Yeah.
I like your rubbing out technique better though, because you can almost build it the way you want it versus just like go away, because that's really more of the freezer techniques, just like go away.
Yeah. Yes,
done
exactly.
with you.
But honestly, you can create some really funny, like you can do like 4 boxes and work it so it moves forward, where you meet, you argue, then you kind of move apart, then you just stand there, you rub out their words, and then you see the 4th box where they're totally gone. So you can kind of do like a cartoon series if you want.
That makes sense. That's a great idea.
Yeah, it's fun. You can color it in if you want. Like I did it just in pencil and paper, white paper. But yeah, you can make it really fun.
Oh, I'm assuming nowadays, based off of how many videos you're putting out, you don't have time to go and color in everything. That's right.
Not at the moment. No, the coloring in is yes, a thing of the past right now. I try and do it all mentally now because it's quicker. Yeah.
Yeah, much easier. Right. True. So that kind of ties into the whole forgiveness concept, right? Did that kind of come into play, or really just rubbing out? You're like, nah, I don't even care about forgiving you, forgiving me, forgiving anybody. I just want you the heck out of my life.
Yeah. In that instance, no, I didn't. But I have done a lot of forgiveness as on myself, because when you have a lot of hurt, especially in relationships, you're carrying I know I should forgive you, but I don't want to. Is kind of where the general thing kind of stays hanging for a while. But as you get to understand more that it's everyone is you pushed out and what you project is what you get, then you go, oh, hang on a minute. I created that. I don't have to forgive them. I've got to forgive me.
That is...
Because I didn't know. I didn't know what I was doing. You know,
and
that's where the forgiveness comes in.
And that is so key, too, because I think so many people I hear it a lot, and I've certainly been guilty of it in the past, but there's been a lot of that, this person needs to change. And I think a lot of it is, it's really more, we need to really work on, even if there's some truth to that, which I think it's us pushed out. I agree with that concept completely. But even still, the only thing we can control is ourselves. And it's amazing the power that you have over the way people interact with you just by adjusting your feelings and or forgiving. And I think that is an extremely powerful concept. So I love that. Love that we're talking about that.
And also, Dan, it's that thing. It's so easy to say, okay, well, they didn't do this or they didn't do that.
Right.
But if you do the Dr. Hugh Len Ho'oponopono thing, you will say, if this is in front of me, what have I got going on that created this situation? Whether it's the absence of someone, whether it's someone showing up angry and saying, I don't want to be with you, whether it's your bank account going down below 0, what have I got going on? And then you take full responsibility and say, okay, I'm going to look at what beliefs and thoughts and feelings I have. I'm going to write them down, all the negative ones, and then I'm going to say, what do I need to think, feel, and believe to get the result I want? So it's like you just break down the mechanics of doing that and you get faster at it. I found doing it on paper in the beginning was really helpful, because sometimes I think you got this stuff going on here, you got the stuff going on here, and in your gut, and you're kind of whirling around. But to sit down and go, what is it that's actually, what raw pink nerve has actually been hit here?
Right, and it's that self-reflection, and I think that's what a lot of people need to kind of spend. All of us need to spend time kind of looking inward. What am I doing? What am I thinking? What thoughts are causing this? Because this is obviously not the direction I want to go. So what am I doing? What can I change? What can I alter?
Yeah,
and so I agree with that.
Yeah, and that's not the easiest work, because you end up seeing things and you go, oh, I've still got that fear. Like with me, with my work, I spent a long time going, oh, creative people don't make money. And then eventually I cracked that. It took decades for some reason.
Yeah.
I just could not believe that creative people could make money.
What's odd is how spiritually that was ingrained in a lot of us. Like, that was just the thing. If you're going to do good work, and I've actually heard that from other people, it's like, I just can't believe that people that are doing this kind of work would possibly be charging money for things. And it's like, whoa, hang on a second. Like, how much time do we have? And like, just because someone's asking questions, I mean, like for me especially, it's like, I got a full-time job. I'm trying to do videos. Like, I don't have a whole lot of free time. So it gets a little difficult to try to juggle all that. And you get hit up by a lot of people. And it's like, I'm trying really hard. I'm like, I'll go on walks and I'm like doing emails while I'm going on my walk, trying to catch up with that stuff. So.
I know. Dan, I know. And I've actually had to stop as it's kind of hit.
Oh, I'm sure.
1,000 subscribers and then it's gone up to 6. I've had to let go that I cannot do 3 to 4 hours of replying to YouTube notifications. I've had to accept that I can only get through so many emails a day. And when you're someone who's used to being on top of stuff, that's quite hard and uncomfortable.
Right, and you feel like you're losing that personal aspect to it, but that's just part of, I think, becoming a YouTube creator and kind of expanding and growing.
It's inevitable.
It is. And ultimately, it's a good sign.
And it's not that you're not listening.
Yeah.
It is the good sign.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I guess people... Yeah, I mean, I did a YouTube, I think it was yesterday, with a guy, and he was a success story. So I interviewed him, and he said, I've been with you since you had about, I think he said 200 subscribers.
Wow.
And I thought, God, you've been listening for ages.
Right.
And I thought, wow, and he really turned his breakup, and then he worked on his self-love, and then his particular person they're friends again. But he said, he said to himself, no, I actually want to continue to work on my self-love, because that right now is more important to me than you. He didn't say it in those words, but it was that thing of, he valued for once his self-love more than being in the relationship. And that's why I got him on, because this is the underlying gem and jewel underneath every scenario with a specific person, is that component. So now I've totally forgotten why I was bringing that up.
Well, on the same topic, I don't know. We'll see if we get back to it. But I do see when we're trying to get back together with someone, and I think in a lot of cases, either breakup or you've kind of been up and down or all these sorts of things, that whole idea of self-love and really looking inward and going, wait, is this what I want? Is this what I deserve? I'm getting frustrated. I'm getting grumpy. Like, I had one person reach out to me, and they're actually letting their studies go, and it's like, whoa. You're telling me you're doing self-love, but we're not. And, same for me. Like, there's certain things that I know I'm maybe kind of lacking in that regard at times, and it's like you got to stop yourself and look and go, wait a minute, do I deserve better than this? And I think really those answers are important. So it's awesome that this gentleman was saying that. And I forgot, he had an interesting name. I don't know if because you did the video. Shiva, that's right.
Shiva 7 is his YouTube.
Oh, that's his YouTube name.
Nickname.
Okay, I thought that was his real name. I'm like, that's just a crazy name. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah.
And he actually, because he said, look, I actually can't get on Skype visually because the videos, the Wi-Fi is not strong enough to pull the audio and the video. So it wasn't that he was hiding. It was actually that he couldn't get on. So yeah, the fact that we could hear him clearly was good enough.
Yeah, and that is it's kind of funny because I had someone, they ended up like they're a new subscriber and they've already unsubscribed, by the way. But man, they tore into me about how I was being like a fluff, and I wasn't getting in and explaining everything about my specific person. I'm like, look, she's got her own life, man. I don't want. There's people that know me and know her, and like anonymity is huge right now. It's like, come on, man, be a little respectful of that. I try to be as open and forthcoming as I possibly can. Certainly about me, anyway. And I'm perfectly willing to make mistakes and fail in front of people and succeed with everyone, but. It's like, come on, we got to be respectful for people that aren't a part of this conversation. So, so obviously he wasn't hiding in his case, but still, that's
no, he wasn't. He wasn't. No, but it's good to. Yeah, look, I understand what you're saying about that with subscribers, because you get like 95% of them are so beautiful and so really grateful, and then you get 5% that either are so much more knowledgeable than you according to them.
Yes.
So, yes, I highly recommend to those people that they go and start their own YouTube channel.
That's excellent. I like that, actually. Yeah, to me it was kind of like the first thumbs down I got. I was like so excited. I'm like, I finally did it. I've got big time. Someone's mad at me, and so it's just that I got to learn to have thicker skin. You don't get to 6,000 people without upsetting probably a few here and there, like you said. So it's the community is amazing. I especially the core people that chime in a lot. It's just unreal how wonderful people are, how supportive they've been, and it's just really.
And you and
really
I
cool.
have a lot of the same.
Yeah, we do.
We cross pollinate. Which is lovely.
And it's funny how often I hear I found you through Agnes. It's very common for me to hear that. So
that's great. And I often hear, I was watching Dan and he said this. What do you think?
Well, that's pretty awesome.
I giggle. It's just great.
That's awesome. Yeah, considering where I was when we first started, and I'm not growing at any sort of crazy pace, but it's a good pace. It's nice, and
it is.
It's pretty fun.
Yeah, because how many subscribers did you have when we started?
I was like right around 100. I was right around 100, and I'm like at 505 or something weird right now. So it's like, it's amazing. I'm seeing it grow daily, and it's super cool. And like I said, I saw you broke. I think you broke 6,000 recently, and I'm sure it's just onward and upward, and it's fantastic. And again, to sort of try to circle back around on the topic. A lot of this is like through us making our own mistakes and growing and developing. Yeah. But most importantly, it's forgiving ourselves for making mistakes. I think that's key, because I mean, I can't speak for you, but for me, for sure, man, I've made so many mistakes along the way. I know all the things not to do, or at least a good chunk of them. I'm sure I'll find a few more along the way. But it is amazing. It is absolutely amazing, and it's been extremely empowering for me, without a doubt. And I think that that internal. Yeah. I actually even started a weird side, not channel, but a side set of videos that I'll do occasionally. And I've gotten some decent remarks from it, but it's kind of like for the teachers out there. Like, you've really got to pay attention when you're trying to teach this to other people. You are going to have a lot more experiences on failure, basically, because it's like you have to know it. You have to know it better. And I think that's where you've come from your 5 relationships, and likewise. I mean, makes us better teachers. So,
but also having the experience and then kind of funneling it into simple words in not too many monologuing, lengthy explanations.
Well, you're probably better at that than I am.
Well, it's hard. It's hard. Knowing something is one thing, isn't it? But actually funneling it into very basic explaining terms, I think that's the thing that that was the thing when I used to watch Law of Attraction teachers and stuff. I'd think, okay, I've just watched like 9 minutes and 48 seconds and I'm not really any more clear than I was.
Right.
So I'd be thinking, why is it that, some people, they understand the knowledge and they've got it in their lives, but when it goes from their head to the mouth and out onto the screen, the explanation component is too complicated for some people.
Well, it's hard, and I think that's hopefully the things that we're trying to bring to the table in general is it's like we look at a process, we go through this process, and it's like, all right, so here's my understanding of it. Let me try to explain it so other people can hopefully make sense of this and try to apply it to their lives. And I'm assuming that we must be doing a decent job at it, obviously, because there's people that seem to enjoy watching our videos, certainly yours, and I'm getting my nice little core audience too, and it's really It's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I'm like with you right now with the analytics, man. I'm like that. Like when I'm at work, that's on. When I'm at home, that's on. Like that's what's on the screen. I'm just like, interesting. That's nice.
Yeah,
I love the real time, man. That's just so much fun. So
yeah, it is. It is. And, I won't go into the more analytic stuff. I'll send you an email, but TubeBuddy's fantastic.
Oh, I've been
I'll
using it.
show you
that. That and
you're using it. Oh, good.
vidIQ is the other one that's actually really good too.
Yes.
Yeah, Daryl
God,
Ives
we're
and all these people.
nerds.
Oh my God, I've been watching all this stuff, and just not having to do all the keywords. Oh my gosh, that's saving me so much time just having most of those pre-done. So,
yeah, fabulous.
Night
I
and day
know.
difference.
Yeah, yeah. It's like people think they're learning from us, but there's so much learning that we do behind the scenes. One, about the subject of law of attraction and manifesting,
absolutely.
but two, behind the techie side that we have never been good at.
Yes. It's definitely new. That's right. It is in a lot of cases. There's a lot of tightly kept secrets in some of this stuff, and it's really hard to get people to kind of fess up to what their little secrets are. So I totally.
That's true.
And
That's
something that we need to learn to forgive people for.
Exactly. Coming back to
right, trying to circle back around on that. So a lot of people, I know they can get a little grumpy, maybe get frustrated. I've seen it certainly with specific people. Obviously, maybe they're not responding quick enough, not texting back, doing stuff on social media, which, man, for me, it's so easy to unplug social media and not look at stuff. So I have a hard time with that one, and I really just have to take a deep breath before I start responding back. It's like, why are you looking at their Facebook page if you know it's going to bother you? Why?
I know.
Why do you put your hand in the fire knowing it's going to burn you? And so
yes.
So how does forgiveness?
And that's right. That's right. I mean, I probably, I still get emails, people saying, I checked the Facebook or and then I saw this and now I'm upset and now what do I do? It's like, well, I've done 5 videos on stop doing that. So go and look at those again.
Yes,
I'm not
please.
saying it again.
Yes. Can you do another video? It's like, I've done like 5 of those, 4 of them.
I can't do any more on that subject.
At least not for a while anyway. Yeah.
No.
So in those cases, how do you, let's use the social media one just because it seems to be prevalent. It's certainly common. But like if you're doing that and you hop on and you see something that bothers you, in your mind, what's a good technique for trying to circle back around on the whole forgiveness thing? How would you go with that?
Well, first it's the pre-understanding. Okay, if I have done that, or people say, "Oh, I just happened to see." Well,
there's
you didn't just happen.
Right? It's like,
but it just came up in the newsfeed. Yeah, but you were on there and you hadn't adjusted your settings, which we've talked about before.
Right.
So if you did see something, what that tells me is you still got that kind of searching around for evidence vibe.
Yes.
And if you're going in there to look for evidence of what you don't want, your vibe has projected fear, second best, I'm not good enough, I'm not worthy, I'm not deserving. And then you've acted out of that addictive, obsessive place. And then you're going to get that photocopied. Because I'm sure when people do it, and people have said it, they don't just do it once. No. Sometimes people are obsessively doing it 10 times a day or 5 times a week. The regularity of it, really, the frequency doesn't matter. It's the fact that you got that energy in you that is constantly looking to find something out.
Well, that's the funny part about it is if that's what your intention is, like you said, I only checked once in the week, and I happen to see, well, that's the energy you're putting out there. He might have posted, a whole bunch of non-things that wouldn't have bothered you at all, and the one thing he posts, suddenly the energy of you's like, I gotta look, there it is. He's a cheater, he's a horrible man, and it's like, no, like, come on.
He's just living his life.
He went out with a person from work. If you bothered to read the caption, you would see that this is his work friend. It's not even a relationship. It's like, come on.
Yeah. I know, and that's the other thing. You hurt yourself twice. First with looking, and two, the interpretation you've stamped on it. It could be his sister. It could be his cousin from out of town. Let's come in to go to a wedding. Right. But no, you've just seen it and then gone and interpreted it and freaked yourself out.
And that is so us pushed out at that point. That's where you're like, he's doing X, Y, and Z. And it's like, no, those are all your fears. That's all your insecurities. That's all. And that's where that's again, to go back to the circle back on the forgiveness thing. That's where you see the mirror in front of you. And it's like, oh,
Yeah.
this is what I'm doing. This is what I'm projecting. Here's what I need to forgive myself for,
Yeah.
and start to really look at internally, self-love and the Ho'oponopono and all these different things.
Yeah.
Let's try to make this
better. Because if you
better.
do love yourself, you would say to yourself before you hop on social media, is this going to be a self-loving thing for me to do? Or is this got the potential to destabilize me for weeks and months
Oh, goodness.
in the coming?
Yes.
So when you ask yourself that, you go, okay, no, I'm not willing to take that risk. I'm actually feeling quite good today, a little bit shaky. I need to go and do some self-love stuff or anything that makes me feel good and get myself pulled back away, not keep going in for more.
Well, it's like if I've got say a 20% chance if I do an activity, I've got a 20% chance that it's definitely going to hurt me. All right, well, that's 1 out of 5. Okay, I could get away with it 4 times.
Yeah.
But really, is it worth that risk? That's the big question we all got to ask ourselves. It's better just to let's just do a 5 out of 5 chance that I'm not going to look at it, and I can guarantee that I'm not going to have these issues. And if you have to unfriend, I know at least in Facebook, you don't get any notification when someone unfriends you. I don't think you do on Instagram. I mean, I think there's no indication of that happening. So if you have to, unfriend them for a while, you can refriend them later and then make up some excuse for why. Oh, I did it on accident. Whatever, who cares? It doesn't really matter. But sometimes just seeing that stuff, like you said, if you know it's going to hurt, why open up that can of worms? Why go there?
Exactly. And that's what you get better at. You get better at protecting your emotional state, looking after your emotional state, because the more you maintain and protect it, therefore you are in a much better position to manifest the wants because you're stable. You're maintaining your stability.
Well, and that's what
peace.
I keep trying to explain to people too. It's like, look, if your significant someone really matters to you, that energy that you want that to be an attractive energy. And if you're coming at this from a very jealous, very upset, very frustrated energy, like the thought transmissions that we've talked about, that you're not sending good energy to them. So you're not feeling good to them either. And so the only way to really get around that is to really, truly, and I know a lot of people are like, we always say to do self-love. And it's like, yes, because that's the most important thing. And if you're not happy, if you're not self-love, you're definitely not going to get there. Period. It's just, or you're going to attract something you totally don't want because now you're energetically in that weird vibration.
So true, I look, it's so, I mean, you say it and you say it and you say it, but it's experiencing self-love and putting effort into it. And then you see that you level out emotionally. And then as you level out emotionally, then you are much more able to attract those things you want. And once you get the experience of that, not just Agnes and Dan and whoever else on YouTube telling you that, then you get it. Once you get it, your result will then encourage you to continue it because you felt it, experienced it, and embodied it. Yes. But it has to be, I understand people listen to success stories and go, wow, that's really great. But it's still someone else's experience. It needs to be brought in and for you to feel it and experience it. Then you understand the power of self-love. That's when you get it.
That was actually one of the questions I had to a couple listeners, but just in general, it's like, do you guys really like when I share success stories? Because to me, it's almost frustrating. Like if I'm the one that hasn't had that success yet and I keep hearing about how everybody else can do it, I can just see how that's like, no, that's not spinning.
Yes.
Yes. So sometimes it's like, well, I know what I got to do. I know what emotions I need to feel, and I'm got to work on that. And that certainly, I think, gets us going in that. But for me, too, it's kind of that helping people try to make that causation. Like when you can connect the dots between what you're feeling and thinking and saying to what you're experiencing, that to me is where the power starts to really come in. And that's where you really start to make differences in your life. And then you become the success story.
Yes. And you've got to be, I think, when you're, YouTubing about this or writing books or however you want to present it, and package it, you have to at least be have the integrity that you've manifested some stuff to be able to have some credibility and integrity,
A little manifestation cred, a little street cred.
Yeah, a little kind of, a little resume of manifestations.
Right.
At least a few. It doesn't have to be like a big scroll. But...
Right. Just like, and you got this big long scroll that just goes running off. You're like, I've got 7,241 manifestations. Wait, 7,242. I just made something else happen. Hang on.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's
so yeah, I think when you're listening to people on YouTube or you're reading or whatever, it's good to actually find out, okay, this person's talking about this, but, you know, are they actually sort of talking from not that part of their body, but the proper, they're actually making sense that it's true for them.
Not the one we sit on, but the one up higher, that hole.
Up here, yeah, exactly.
Yes.
So you have to know.
The word hole, as they call it.
The word hole.
The word, I've never heard. Never heard the word hole? Yeah, no, that's where the words come out. That's the hole. I know it sounds so wrong. That's why I like it.
I learn things from you. I really do.
Yeah, well, you know, the American slang, we're pretty good at that. We bastardize the English language every chance we get.
It's really important stuff I learned from you, Dan. That's what I love.
Thank you. I appreciate that. You know, it's funny is I sometimes wonder about the success stories too, where it's like, you know, on Facebook, like, everyone's always posting the best moments of their life. Like, if you look at them on Facebook, they're flawless. Like, nothing ever is wrong in their life. Their kids are perfect. Everything. Their husband's awesome. They're always smiling, right? But I kind of wonder, too, if it's like the people that are sharing success stories, like, yeah, I did this really awesome thing, and I'm just leaving out the fact that I failed 42 times during the week prior to that one moment. So I think a lot of us really just put it in perspective, say, yes, it's possible, but ultimately we got to find our own success stories within ourselves. That's why I frequently talk about, you know, traffic signals, parking spaces, whatever, you know, manifesting $5, manifesting a bottle of water given to you, whatever. But it kind of gets you to your own success, and then you can start to kind of ride with that. For sure.
Definitely. And I think you need those smaller ones regularly to say to yourself, okay, I'm in the flow, I'm in the zone, I'm moving towards things. Isn't this great? And you reassure yourself as much as you can.
When I try to get people to understand, and I've seen this, and like you've seen this, I'm sure, but it's like once you really start, it's weird. It's like a momentum thing. I keep trying to imagine. Have you ever seen The Price is Right? That big stupid wheel they'd spin, right?
Yes.
I keep imagining a big giant version of that wheel, like really, really heavy. And it's like your manifestation wheel, and it gets going faster and faster and faster. And when you start having negative thoughts, that's when you start, like you say, putting on the handbrake, right? And you start to slow that wheel down, because otherwise you would destroy yourself if you got off onto one of these negative tangents and you were able to just manifest, like instantly you'd be having all these horrible things happen.
Exactly.
So that's the thing is you got to be careful. Once you really, really get going, you start manifesting things very, very quickly. And again, it's the power. It's your thinking. It's your thoughts. It's what you're sending out. And if you're coming from fear, if you suddenly start reverting back to those bad habits, you will start to create some unwanted circumstances in your life. It's great. It works either way. The universe doesn't care.
Yeah, it works either way. And it's very easy to slide back to old things. Goodness.
Yes, it absolutely is. And I'm sure you catch yourself from time to time. I certainly do, probably slightly more frequently. But I mean, and that's the thing. Still, there's no... It's not failing that we do it from time to time. It's how quickly do you catch yourself? And I talk about frequently, it's like I've got my little litany of affirmations. The second I start getting negative, Dan, you're okay. You're all right. Everything's happening. Like I've got this litany that I just instantly start spouting off, and it makes me feel better. I get control of it quickly. And it's like, all right, good. That was just, well, seriously, come on, dude. Why are you scared all of a sudden? There's no reason for all that.
And for sure.
And we gotta forgive ourselves for these moments. I know I keep trying to circle us back around. I don't know. We're gonna dance on this topic. I'm not gonna actually do it. Just for the viewers out there, we're just gonna tiptoe around it.
We're tiptoe around. Yeah. We probably need to talk about, because I get a lot of emails about.
Here goes. Okay.
People, she did this to me or he did that to me, and I'm still really burning with the hurt or burning with the I can't let it go. I can't let it go mentally. Hurt, right. I can't. That I think is one of those things that people really just don't know how to shift.
Right.
And I found,
what are a couple techniques that you would recommend?
Well, I think the thing that really set me free from that, because in particular, the ex that left me when he said he was going overseas just to have a holiday and see his family from Australia into the US. But what he did was he actually got married, and then...
Oh, that one. He was number 3, right? Was he number 3?
I think he was number 4.
Number 4, sorry.
Number 4.
I'm trying to learn these.
I was with him for 5 years. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah. You'll know them by name soon.
Right. Seriously, right? I look forward to that day.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll send you pictures
There
and
we go.
names.
There
so
we
you
go.
got the
I'll put him up on the wall. I'll be like, that was number 4. That's right. That was Hans or whatever his name was.
Yeah, like in NCIS when they've got all the criminals up on the wall.
That's awesome.
So, yeah, I love that show. I watch that a lot.
Very good. Nice.
Yeah, what were we talking about?
Talking about number 4, how he got married.
So,
you're upset.
So he got married. It was his family had organized him to marry his high school sweetheart, who was the same religion as him, and he had agreed to it. So when I had heard that, and I was just in shock for like probably 6 months, really.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, it was a long, I just kept coming in and out of I cannot believe, because we had a good relationship, but the family pressure on his end, and of course I didn't understand then that his family was me pushed out, and I kept thinking his family's going to interfere. He's going to believe them over us. He's going to choose what they're saying. So I aided the family's power in that situation. So I thought, okay, that's really interesting. Now, so I was trying to work through the hurt, and I was trying to forgive, and I couldn't for ages. I'll be honest, I couldn't. It was really hard. But as I started to just go, okay, I can't think about that because it just activates horrible stuff. I'll just do the self-love, and I'll just try and push that into the background temporarily until the sting of it subsides.
Right.
So I thought, okay, I'm going to continue to do the self-love, but the thing that I started to understand, because I was, obviously reading more Neville and then trying to apply what was being said. When I came across that everyone is you pushed out thing, I finally understood that the forgiveness was not about him. It was about me not understanding, that projecting fear, projecting he's going to leave me, he's going to choose someone else, his family's going to win, I'm disempowered, I'm never going to get what I want, I'm not deserving, I'm second best, because that was one of the big ones I had going on. Then that created that situation. And then I thought, I can forgive myself for what I did, because I know better now, so I can do better. And part of doing better was letting go and forgiving me, because I didn't understand that me doing all that stuff was being photocopied by his result. So, and it was really weird, because last night I got a message from him saying, hey, Are you here? Are you in the country? And I thought, how weird, because how random. I don't have contact with him anymore. I wish him well. But I can feel that he's trying to access me. I can feel he's trying to, let's go out for dinner. Let's have a conversation. And I think, I'm actually going back and forth. It's not going to kind of work for me.
Yeah.
Not saying I wouldn't like to hear him out, but it's not a burning need for me anymore.
Right. And
I'm not in resentment. I'm not going, I don't want to meet him.
Right.
It's just like, I'm actually, it's not going to fit in with what I'm doing. Just let it go. Forgive yourself. It's fine. I understand what happened. I don't need to explain to him about the projection. I get my end. I can feel that he's in guilt still.
Really? And how long's it been?
Yeah, I can feel that. Probably 6-7 years.
Okay.
I'd say.
Okay.
Yeah. But I can feel in the texts. I can feel in the
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Messaging on WhatsApp. Yeah.
You can hear the words within the words.
I can feel it.
Yeah. I know exactly what you're talking about.
You can. And there's it's like I can just feel, let's get together because I need to know you forgive me. And it's like I can't do his work for him.
Right.
I hope he forgives himself, because really I'm not carrying it anymore.
Yeah, it's not your issue.
He doesn't need to carry it.
And you don't need to refresh that wound. You don't need to peel that scab off, if you will. It's like, no, I'm good. I'm good where I'm at. I don't need this. I don't need to talk about it. Now, let me ask you this, though.
Yeah.
That was number 4, so there was a number 5 also, right? And then and then the current person.
No.
Or is the current person number 5?
The current one.
He is number 5. Okay, got it.
Yeah.
But so my question is, and I think this is valuable, because I've certainly had some of my failed relationships in the past and certainly tried to rekindle them and all that good stuff too. But I look back on it and I'm like, I'm glad it didn't work out. So I'm just curious, are you or do you think that would have had the legs had things not have broken the way they did, or do you think that actually had a lot to you becoming who you are today and the thousands of people you help? I mean, that's where I sometimes kind of wonder. It's like,
it is.
you know, we go down these weird paths, you and I, that I think help us help others. You know, it's a weird.
Yes.
Not that I'm trying to justify the mistakes we make, but
no. But I think, you know, when I look back now, you know, I think, maybe there were differences that I don't know if they could have been overcome. No, and I'm talking about how we both viewed the world,
right?
And how, you know, obviously, if I projected that we could overcome it and all that stuff, probably would. But
absolutely,
it's not something I want to fix or go back to.
But look at the growth you've had. Look at the growth you've had and who you've become. You know, in spite of all that, and I think that's huge.
Yeah.
Like that wouldn't have necessarily happened had you stayed together. Not to mention everything you learned manifesting your current partner, your current love.
Yeah,
I mean, that's
exactly.
powerful. So that's where, again, I think sometimes people get really caught up in the right now and, oh my God, I got to do this. And it's like, whoa, let's kind of look at this. One, yes, it's us pushed out. Two, what can we do differently within our own selves? What self-love issues do we possibly have right now? Because a lot of times relationships, if everything's working copacetically and you're growing together and everything's good, they don't usually end. That's not common. So a lot of times if something's causing a breakup, there's disharmony, there's disunity, there's self-love, there's not liking each other, whatever your thing is manifesting. Yes. So I think it's worthy of paying attention to, certainly.
Yeah, for sure. And seeing the jewels in the, you know, in the big pile of garbage, big pile of rubbish, you will find jewels. And, you know, that felt like a big pile of rubbish at the time.
Like I like to say, sprinkling powdered sugar on a turd.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? There's sort of a gleaming happy spot there, but it's still a turd. No matter how you look at it. It's still a turd. So.
There's the dashboard moment in this.
Hang on, I'm gonna take a quick little taste of that dashboard. That is delicious. I still remember you talking about your friend driving cross country or whatever, and how filthy dirty, and she almost got attacked by a kangaroo, jumped through the window or something crazy.
Yeah, she hit one, and then it started kicking kicks the windscreen, and then it does you some damage because it's trying to get out.
Right, and I'm thinking that dashboard didn't taste good, but regardless, we're not trying to go back on that again.
Actually, speaking of weird Australian things,
yes,
because where I'm staying is near the beach, and it's in the city.
Oh, nice.
But I came in the door the second day I was here. It was like the 13th or 14th of September. Oh. I opened the door and I went, oh.
What freaky critter was there?
There was a white-tailed spider, which they're normally quite little, but this was double the size. It was probably like that big if we're looking. And it looks like a scorpion, and it's got a white tip on its bum. So you know it's called a whitetail.
They're obviously poisonous because it's in Australia.
Deadly.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
And I just went, I thought, I'm not even in the mountains at my mum's place. What are you doing here?
Yeah,
so I grabbed my shoe and, killed it because I thought, no.
Yeah.
But it was like, come on.
Right. Yeah, that's that's odd us pushed out kind of thing, but probably more for you. It's just like, welcome back to Australia.
Yeah.
Where everything can kill you.
Everything can kill you. But the thing is, I've never seen them in the city. Like, this is like, we're in the city. It's built up area. There's not a lot of bush or trees or, it's the city. So, but it was like, you need to relocate. See you later.
Yeah. Well, you sent him, relocated him to another dimension is what you did there.
I think I did.
Yeah.
I was. I just saw it. That could end up under my bed while I'm sleeping. I will never sleep if I know that I haven't killed him. You got to go. Yeah.
I've got a rule to the universe in my house. If I see a spider, if I see you, you're dead. Sorry, I'm sending you to another dimension. Yeah. If I don't see you, I'm loving the fact that you're there because you're probably eating other critters. But if I see you, I can't relax knowing giant king spiders running around. Granted, our spiders are not like yours, but we've only got like 2 or 3 of them that are even poisonous. Yes. and it will be you.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
just the
You
rule.
or me,
Yeah.
and it will be you.
It will
That's
be you.
It. I'm bigger than you.
Yes.
You need to go. Yeah.
Yes. Period. And I've got a shoe in my. And it's funny how you got to grab some sort of weapon. There's no way you're going after a spider with just like, it might jump on you or who knows, right? It is so
I
funny.
know. I know.
We're so getting off topic. I love it. But
I
needless
know.
to say, yeah, spiders.
It's yeah. So
no bueno.
yes.
No bueno.
So yeah, I think I think we've done a good job covering at least some stuff to think about in terms of forgiveness, self-forgiveness or forgiveness to the person. I think that's something to chew on.
We were all over the place for sure, but I think, just to kind of close and reiterate the forgiving aspect, like,
yeah,
I know a lot of people. I truly know. You can feel it. You can feel it, I'm sure, too. When you send the comment and they're like, well, what should I do? And you're like, all right, well, first off, self-love. Like, it's obvious in your comments to me or your email to me. It's riddled with comments. And you're like, I'm trying to be supportive, so I'm not trying to just, I'm not trying to point out every place where you said it. But it's like, we don't just say this because that's some really easy little black and white catchphrase that we can just throw around. Like, that's our answer to everything, even though it tends to be. The fact of the matter is that really is key. Loving ourselves. Loving ourselves enough to do the best thing for ourselves that we can do. And if that's, maybe getting out of a bad situation that we keep projecting out and it keeps making us frustrated, then love yourself enough to get out of that. Love yourself enough to get off of Facebook or at least unfriend this person that you can't stand seeing. You can always go back. So I think it's super important.
That's a self-loving act. Exactly.
Kind of self-preservation too.
Simple, practical things.
Yes.
Yep. Yeah. And that's the thing you got to have in your mind all the time. How can I preserve my emotional state, my mental state as I move through the day? If something's got the potential to derail me, then I've got to look at, okay, I'm going to dissolve the part of me that this is still in my orbit, but I can also step away from it rather than leaning into it and having a really good look.
God, yeah, right? It's like you don't need a microscope to see, it's
no.
Yeah, it's like just step back.
Exactly.
And that's the thing is it's not necessarily permanent for those of you that are out there, but I don't want to do that. I know you don't want to do it. Do it for a little while, just long enough to get yourself back on your feet. We're not saying forever, but if you're in that grumpy, frustrated place and all you see every time you look at it is negative, then that tells you you're at a place right now that's got a negative vibe, and that's what you're attracting. And so you're suddenly interested in looking at his Facebook the second he posts something horrible.
Yeah, exactly.
We just got to remember to care a little bit more about ourselves, about number one, and you can do a lot more to help others that way.
Yeah.
Agnes, I love talking to you.
Hey, that's
hallelujah. I love it.
That's where we sing that.
That's so. I know we should. Next time I will. Oh, by the way, can you see this little scratchy here? I woke up with this.
Yes.
Is it sad when you wake up and you're apparently attacking yourself in the middle of the night? I have no idea. This was not there when I went to bed. I think your spider found me. Your little white tipped freaky spider got me right there.
Yeah, white tipped. Exactly. Got you.
Yes. Anyway, Agnes,
well, Dan,
I love you as always, and I appreciate all your support. You've been wonderful.
I love my time with you.
Me too.
I think I think, because we do YouTubes on our own a lot, it's so nice to vibe with someone else and get out of your cubicle.
Amen to that.
Yeah, I love our time.
I do too. Yeah, we got to do this again. I don't want to, maybe we can do it a little, I don't want to go longer than a month, so maybe we can shoot for like a hair before the 30th or whatever, but I'll shoot at a time.
We can do. We'll
shoot
through some because in October I'll be settled in London. So
cool.
No problem.
When you heading
Just
out
shoot
there?
me through. I leave on the 8th from France.
Oh, sweet. Okay,
so,
good.
Yeah.
And that's so much easier from there too because the time difference.
Third, yeah.
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. The 17 hours is brutal.
Third week is fine. Just shoot me through.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll do that. Agnes,
cool.
You're the best. I'll talk to you soon.
Sounds good.
Alrighty. Ciao.
Ciao, my friend.
You got it. Bye-bye.
Mwah.
Mwah. Bye.